Hello, everybody. My name is Kanye M, and welcome to On The Couch. Welcome back to episode 2. It feels good to say that because it means this is an actual thing and we're not just starting things for the sake of starting them, but we're actually going to see them through. On this episode, we will be talking about love, dating, and relationships. If you can't already tell, Sana, I am a lover girl. I'm a sucker for love and all things romance. I love fussing over someone's son and I can't wait to find love again and have love find me. I really can't wait. But this conversation is not necessarily going to be as cute as I just made it out to be. If anything, I'm going to be in your business. So before we even get into it, grab a snack, grab a cup of coffee, head on over to your couch, be comfortable, and let's dissect this. You watch the first episode, then you know that we talked about purpose and destiny, upon which I touched on quite a lot of things. But one of the things that the Lord brought to my attention was dating and how that can serve as the greatest and as the greatest platform for delay in one's life as they pursue purpose or destiny or God even. And so that's what we're going to talk about. See, it's not going to be the cutest conversation, but it's going to help you. Because like I said, I'm not just here to waste your time or my time. We just have a conversation, but I'm here to provide corrective measures to help you do away with doing things in accordance to societal standards. In this case, when it comes to your love life and your dating life and your relationship life. So I'm not going to speak about marriage, but I have dated. I've been in relationships, committed relationships. So I think I have the experience to kind of impart some of the wisdom that I'm carrying. I'm going to take you guys on a journey from how dating is currently being done in our time, in our generation, and in this society, into the effects of how that dating is carried out. And then finally, I will give you guys a picture, or I'll paint the most beautiful picture of how God really wants us to do it. And it's really, dating God's way is not that complicated. Like, I'm seeing how people are like, how do you do it? What does it entail? It literally, dating God's way is involving God and doing absolutely everything in accordance to his standard when it comes to love and relationships. And anything that contradicts that, you shy away from it. You what? Repeat after me. You shy away from it. Okay. Let's just very quickly get into how dating is being done in our society and in our time. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of dating experience, right? And what dating is in our time, which is like casual dating and having rosters, no, but I will say that being a person that has only encountered love within the context of like committed relationships, I got the rudest awakening when I had to get back into the dating scene. Like even now, being the woman that I am now. Oh, guys, the dating pool. Oh, single girls, I feel sorry for us because what? But let me get into it. I was in a relationship. A long-term, relationship. And then I got out of that relationship, right? And then I got into the dating scene. And at the time, like conversations were, it's casual dating. It's having a roster. You speak to John and Tim and Sizwe and you kind of just try to figure out who's best suited for you, which is, it's all good and well, right? That's what dating is about. I think that's actually something that we don't focus on a lot as women, that when you date, in looking for love, you're not only selling yourself and trying to prove to a man that you are worthy of love and commitment, but you're also trying to weigh whether somebody is worth your love and your commitment and whether they fit into that and they make sense for you. I'm getting ahead of myself, but let's go back. So I'm back in the dating scene, getting to know somebody, and I remember expressing myself and kind of venting to people around me at the time, and I was like, whoa, I'm not used to not having a man report themselves to me. The person that I'm talking to is doing things in jail and I don't have context of that. And I think part of the counsel that I received was, well, he hasn't really asked you out. Yes, you guys are talking and you kind of have a liking to each other, but this person hasn't really asked you out. They don't owe you anything. And I started moving like that. I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to expect this person to report to me. Biggest mistake. What do you even mean? Long story short, it came to a point where I was sitting down with myself and I was like, if this person has intimate access to me, they owe me everything. And that's the issue with casual dating, with rosters and all these weird and wonderful things. Yes, you are speaking to Tom and John and Sizwe and you're trying to figure out who's best suited for you. But at the same time, you are sleeping with all of these people. You are sexually intimate with all of these people. And where do we think that is going to end? Because not only is sex something that's supposed to be experienced within the context of marriage, another sign that you are not doing it God's way if you're having sex. Stop it. Right? It exposes you to so much. Going back onto the fact that the person that you are getting to know and you are sexually intimate with, that person owes you everything. Because if Tim is sleeping with Palesa and Palesa has an STI and then I end up contracting that, are you still going to move around and say, oh no, he doesn't owe me anything because he hasn't asked me out to be his girlfriend? Because also, first of all, why are you sleeping with somebody that has not even arrived at a point of committing to you on a girlfriend and boyfriend level? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? So we've normalized a lot of these things. We've also normalized things like infidelity. Ooh. You might be listening to me and you might be thinking, I haven't normalized infidelity. The mere fact that you're thinking is he knows where home is or they always come back. The mere fact that that's how you reason just shows you, Uguti, you've normalized things that don't make sense. Because why is it a thing that men cheat? Why is it a thing that we've accepted? The way that we are dating currently with rosters and casual dating and normalizing infidelity, kipito, it might make sense for our current economy. But if you cannot even afford to live on your own, why are you in a relationship with somebody else? No, it's economically friendly, so we're going to move in together. Or why ujola if you can't afford your own rent? There are weightier matters in your life that you ought to be prioritizing over and above a relationship. If you guys cannot afford living separately, why are you even in a relationship? You cannot afford to take up a wife if you can't afford your own rent. So automatically we know mkipito out. The fact that, guys, we ought to have mastered these things, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Also, having sex, the easiest and the quickest and the simplest way of seeing that you are dating outside and completely opposite from the standard that God has set. And this notion that, oh, he's my husband, we're going to get married anyway. If you don't shut up right now, girl, if you don't shut it, no, he's hubby, we're gonna get married anyway, so might as well have sex. No, my love. No. That's sin. It's sin. If you guys aren't married and you're having sex, it is sin. I don't care if ukombisiwe, nawe wakombiswa. I don't care if you guys are in the process of paying ilobola ka. If you are not married and you live together, you are dating opposite. And as a Christian, I always say that when you encounter God, it is impossible for you to stay the same. So when you see that you are approaching relationships and you're having sex and you guys are drinking and you guys live together and you're doing all these weird and wonderful things, I can boldly say that the question of where you regard God in your life and the relationship you have with God can be questioned. Because somebody that has a revelation of who God is and somebody that loves and honors and reveres God wouldn't dare. Then you would understand, Uguti, having sex out of marriage is actually such a weighty thing. And never mind it even being weighty, if God doesn't want it, namanyifuni. I feel like I went all over the place and I've said a lot of things, but basically that's how, dating the wrong way, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it, is manifesting in our generation and in our time through the roster situation, through the casual dating. Keep it, the normalization of that, normalizing we're planning to get married, so we're gonna have sex. That's not how you do it. Okay. And now I want to get into the effect that thing or that approach has on your person is so big and we don't really realize it. And I want to start with infidelity. Having normalized infidelity in our generation without the understanding, or rather with the disregard of the effect that infidelity has on women or just people in general, but I speak from like the perspective of women, and as someone who's experienced infidelity, that thing is damaging. because you can literally find a woman who knows who they are and they are confident in who they are and they are unshakable in who they are. Then they experience infidelity. Then you start, and I know a lot of women are going to relate to this. Do you think that it is normal or it is worth disregarding when after experiencing infidelity or encountering infidelity, you start questioning, am I worthy? Do you think that that's normal? Having normalized infidelity, do you think that it's normal for you to move from that way of thinking and that wavelength of function when it comes to your person to now questioning absolutely everything? Do you think that that's normal? It's not. It's not. So why have we normalized a man stepping out of his relationship and sleeping with another woman and coming back and then moving on like nothing happened? A man that is like the most clear-cut way of a man communicating to you the fact that, number one, he doesn't love you, and number two, he doesn't respect you. Your relationship is supposed to be the safest thing. If you always just like uneasy and you're uncomfortable and you are fighting, no. Let's stop normal. It's not normal. Slashing tires, pouring alcohol onto his things, burning his clothes, all these reactions that we have as women, it is not normal. It's not normal. Like the problems that you have with your partner aren't supposed to be things that you are doing to each other, but it's things that the world is throwing at you as a couple. Those are problems. Maktiwa begezela at the things that are coming to you as a unit, not the things that you are throwing at each other. Then again, when it comes to toxicity, oh no, I just want a little bit of fire. I want entertainment. Because again, you guys, I'm trying to say, like, when somebody says it's surface level, you're not going to think I've normalized cheating or I've normalized toxicity. But when the examples come up, you're like, oh shucks. Like this thing of, I'm a lot of a woman. I need a man that's going to be able to control me. I remembered it was once said to us in a teaching, Oguti, are you an animal that you want to be controlled? And when you actually think about it, are you an animal that you need to be controlled? Are you an animal that you want to be controlled? Why is it that you want this fire, you want this entertainment, that a man that is gentle, a man that is soft, a man that is, child, is boring, and that relationship is boring? Like a person who is going to invite a third party in your relationship and now you guys are arguing about that person, that is more of a man than the one who provides leadership through gentleness. Take these things into consideration. It is not normal that your partner breaks up with you at the drop of a pen. Ugutiana, when he's unhappy with something, all of a sudden you're not woman enough, or you're not worth it, or I don't want to be with you. And then you normalize these things, Yoguti, they always come back. I hate it when women say that. Because why did he leave in the first place? So, let's do better when it comes to dating, guys. Let us do better. And for the women out there, I don't know, I just get the sense to drive out the message that is, you are not auditioning for a man. You're not auditioning for a man. It's not just about you selling yourself to a man and trying to prove to him that you're worth being a wife or you are worth commitment. It is also about you vetting out whether or not that man is good for you. Segueing beautifully into dating God's way. But before we actually unpack that, infidelity and toxicity have a negative impact on your nervous system. A person that will constantly walk out of the relationship and then come back because they always come back. I need you guys to take this practically and see how it affects you as a person. Your nervous system and your wiring, when a person walks out of you, kick into heartache, right? It's the crying and the sadness and the not being okay. That's what you kick into when a person walks out. Or when you have a really, really big argument as a couple. Now I'm speaking about toxicity and this being a normal thing that you want because you want fire. And then you guys break up and for 2 weeks you are working on, like, your nervous system is, or your being and your wiring is now getting used to not having that person in your life. 2 weeks later, that person comes back. Then there is this quick fire, like this high that you get because your person is back. Now you are happy. If that happens over a prolonged period of time, It messes up your nervous system because there's the constant trying to get your person and your wiring to get used to not having this person in your life. And there's waves of sadness that come with that, the heartache, this, that, and the next thing. And then magabuya, you then have to adjust yourself into that. I'm not speaking about this because I read it somewhere. It's because I experienced it. Why do you struggle with anxiety when it comes to dating? Because you're so used to people coming in and out and doing whatever it is that they please in your life and your heart and in your mind, and constantly trying to adjust to whatever it is that they are now feeling or whatever the case is. It has a horrible effect on you. Do you see what I'm getting at? Like, do you see the effect of it? With all of that said, what does then dating in accordance to God's standard look like? And I'm going to be honest, right? Before I even get into it, these are things that I've extracted through teachings, whether directly from God or at church. It's not something that I've put into practice yet. So I'm putting myself out there and I'm saying that I owe you guys, revisiting this conversation once I meet my hubby, because I'm not going to speak about it from the perspective of now dating somebody. I want to give you guys a full scope of having courted, having been engaged, and then I'm just going to pop out with the ring, honey. But on a serious note, these are things that I haven't yet put into practice, but it's learnings that I hold so close to my heart. And as far as getting to know somebody and vetting people out, then I'll pull from experiences. But simply put, dating God's way is involving him in absolutely everything. He is the standard. He is the foundation. He is the walls. He's the windows. He's everything when you guys are building. And one of the things to look out for when you meet somebody, first of all, not every attractive person is worth going after. And that's what I'm learning in this season. I'm practicing seeing something and not touching it, not just see it. I'm single, okay, but seeing somebody and being like, oh, you cool people, oh, you got character, oh, you love God, that type of thing. That's what I'm going through right now. And it frustrated me in the beginning, but now I'm telling God, Uguti, I'm grateful that this time around, I'm not jumping into it with whoever, and I'm taking out the opportunity of actually observing somebody from afar. When you see somebody, guys, observe that person from afar. Observe from afar. How do they interact with people? Are they really living this thing? Speaking to Christians, are they really living out this thing? And it's not a thing that they're doing on a Sunday, but are they actually carrying it out in their lives from afar, right? And then once it gets to a point where you both kind of say that, okay, I'm interested in you. Oh, you like me. I like you too. And all of those things, before you both find somebody or people that you're accountable to, make sure, and I'm speaking to the ladies because again, I don't have a guy's perspective. A man that is not accountable to anyone is a dangerous man. That is a man that will literally stand on the top of your head and dance on it because no one's going to tell them anything. So make sure that the person that you are in a courtship with is someone that's accountable. A courtship, guys, dating with the intention of getting married and all these weird and wonderful things. Make sure that that person is accountable to somebody. And even outside of that, vet the people that he's accountable to. It's all good and well for someone to have somebody that they are accountable to. In this case, it could be like their dad or a pastor or whatever the case is. Vet it out, see what kind of character these people have. And I say that because where a person drinks from is what or who they become. So if you are dealing with a man that's accountable to somebody that is abusive, somebody that cheats and just sleeps with every woman under the sun, then you know what you're going to deal with. Because their example is that they are most definitely going to become that. And those are things that are going to reflect in your marriage. So find a man that's accountable, but vet out the people he's accountable to. And if it doesn't make sense, get out. Don't try to make excuses. Don't try to find him somebody that he'll be accountable to, because it'll be very telling if he doesn't find anything wrong with his example. Let's talk celibacy. Celibacy is not you keeping and saving yourself for your husband. So let's uproot that teaching. And the reason why I say that is because when you approach it from that lens, it's not a matter of if you fall, but it's a matter of when I fall, because you dedicate your celibacy to your husband, and then you find yourself in a scenario where you're dating a man and you're so convinced that he's your husband that you then compromise. And because he's my husband, we're going to have sex. Then you fall. Don't do that thing. Celibacy is you dedicating yourself to God, and this very high level teachings, but I'll leave it at that. Celibacy is for God. You're not keeping yourself for marriage. You're doing it for God and your relationship with God. And don't date a man that, okay, this is a personal preference of mine, that a man that is willing to become celibate because I'm celibate is a no-go zone for me, because I will compromise on my thing. And the thing with that is that this person is inheriting celibacy from you. He's not doing it for himself. So that's a strict measure that I've put in place for myself, that the person that I date is somebody that has to already be practicing celibacy. And he's pursuing it for himself because he understands who God is, and he understands, the ways of God, and he wants to commit himself to that. I don't want to teach my partner that way. That's not a consecration that I want him to have because of me, because it is easy to compromise on something that you've inherited. Nothing is going to govern him. So a man that is already practicing celibacy for himself is being governed by the conversations he had with God prior to stepping into that. But a man that steps into it because you are pursuing celibacy is a man that's being governed by you. And it's easy to let go of an inheritance. Yeah, it's easy to let go of an inheritance and something that you wrote for yourself. That's just an example. But another thing, and the biggest and most important thing, is find out who you are and what your assignment is. And the reason why that is important is because it helps you filter out so much. Like, guys, once you arrive at a point of knowing who you are and what your assignment is, dating pool, all the more. Like, the dating pool literally gets all the more smaller. And I'll give you examples. So with the men that approach me now, there are questions that I ask from the very beginning. I don't pose them once I've caught feelings and I'm like, I would date this person. No, from the very beginning. And those questions are, what is your relationship like with God? What do you think about celibacy? Do you have kids, and do you drink? And the reason why I ask those questions is because that's who I found who I am, and I know what my assignment is and what my purpose is. Well, partly because I'm still on a journey to figuring it out, but I know who I am for the most part, right? And the things that I value. The reason why I'd never date a man with kids is because I don't have kids myself, and I don't have anything against men that have kids, but the kind of family structure that I desire to build with my family doesn't make room for a kid that is outside of us. Another question I pose is, do you drink? I don't drink. For me, even an occasional drinker from, potential partner or a sip just doesn't make sense, because the thought that I'm sober 24/7 in my life, and there are chances where you'll never be sober, what conversations will we be having? The notion that on a Saturday I'm at a gospel concert, or I'm at home just chilling, reading the Bible, or preparing for church the next day because I serve, you are out drinking Hennessy with the boys. That doesn't make sense. I know who I am. It's never going to make sense. Another question, I think I've touched on the celibacy thing. I'm going to end up compromising, myself. Nothing against these people, but a man who's just gotten saved, or a man who's working on fixing his relationship with God, like fresh, I would not date, because I know where I am in life, and there are certain consecrations that person hasn't yet been given. That, again, like celibacy, a person that's just gotten saved is not immediately celibate, but for the sake of an example, that person is not immediately celibate, which then means that I stand at a place of being compromised. If I know that this is what I'm trying to uphold, I'm not going to put myself in a space where that will potentially be threatened, or I'll potentially lose that and just forsake it. So those are the questions that I ask. I vet it out right there and there. I don't wait for myself, because to wait to have these conversations later means that you end up catching feelings for somebody, and then you compromise on the big things. And that's not what we're supposed to do. So do away with casual dating. Do away with having rosters. Do away with normalizing infidelity and toxicity and all these weird and wonderful things, and get into your life. Look at your past, your dating history, and your current dating life. Accountability has to be there. You need to be accountable to somebody. He needs to be accountable to somebody. You both need to be accountable to somebody. Have the difficult conversations in the very beginning. Does this person want to have kids? Do you want to have kids? If they don't, walk away. You'll never change their mind, because more often than not, it's not necessarily a numbers game, like how many kids I'm willing to have, but a visions person. If that person can't think of their lives 10 years from now and see kids, but you can, never gonna work. Don't try to change their mind. Get to know who you are. That it filters out so much. Like, it removes the clutter. No matter how nice the person is, you'll see it's okay, this person has a kid. The kind of family structure I'm trying to build doesn't make room for this. Okay, cool. He's out. Okay. Accountability. Get to know who you are. Vet your past dating life and the patterns that you see and that you're not happy with. Get to know who God is, because the only way that you can date in accordance to his standards is if you know the person that has the standards. And the last thing I leave you guys with, love is fun. Love is sweet. Love is gentle. Love is peace. Dating is meant to be enjoyed. Courting somebody, getting to know somebody, it's meant to be nice and enjoyed. If you are crying all the time and you guys are fighting all the time, that is a sign to maybe let go. But anyway, let's get into it. I will, guys, when I get married, I'm going to come back and have this conversation with you again and do you justice. Once again, I'm your host, Kanye M, and thank you so much for listening.